Good morning and welcome to the Monday edition of the daily summation that I do for the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on YouTube and Rumble. Today is October the 5th of 2020, and again I wanted to welcome you aboard. I got confused yesterday about my dates and times. I'm sorry about that, and I just for some reason I got it in my mind that it was Saturday when in fact it was Sunday. But anyway, that aside, let's get on talking about the thing that I'm intending to talk about today. And the thing that I want to talk about today is gun control. I just wanted to say that it's entirely understandable that there are a lot of people out there when they lose a family member or a friend to gun violence, that it really has a harsh effect on them. That's totally understandable. Even those who are not directly affected by such a thing definitely can have their heart break over hearing that somebody's child, regardless whether they were an adult at the time, died from such a heinous act as somebody killing them without any reason for doing so. Obviously, we make exceptions for people like law enforcement where they're protecting their own lives or protecting the lives of others when they do what they do. But when somebody dies illegally of gun violence, it is a very unfortunate thing. And the family and friends, of course, will never get to see that individual again. That cannot be emphasized enough. And that's why even with police, it's necessary for them to be very careful when they take the life of another individual. That having been said, people tend to use that moment to push the ideas of gun control. And it's understandable in a way, but the problem is that most of the things that are suggested to be, they're not as well thought out as they could be. It's not that people aren't thinking about things. It's not that they're not trying to figure it out. It's just that they're not doing as much as they can do to actually think about what's going on. So some of the things are very thoughtful, very cogent, very reasonable, but most times you're lucky to see thoughtful, and that's pretty much where it ends. They're not necessarily all that cogent, and if you really think about them, they're not particularly reasonable. So the thing is that a lot of people fail to consider very important things that have to be considered. And the result, of course, is that they come up with things that a reasonable person cannot honestly support if they sit and really think about what those individuals are trying to do. So an example is that people are constantly harping on the idea that background checks need to be in place. Well, let me tell you a little secret. Well, people who own guns already know this. They are. You almost can't buy a gun without a background check. If a family member or maybe in certain instances a friend wants to sell you a gun, a background check may not be required for you to have that gun, okay? But if you buy a gun, even at a trade show or whatever, a gun trade show or whatever, a gun show, right, you must go through background checks before you can get that gun pretty much anywhere. And just about anybody who's tried to secretly buy a gun at a gun show without doing the background check has found, or at a pawn shop or wherever, without doing the background check has found, no, you can't do this. They won't sell to you in that way. So background checks are what people want to hold that as an important thing, but it's really not. Now let's consider another factor. There are a lot of people who talk about what they call assault rifles, right? And high capacity magazines and things of that sort, bump stocks and various things. And there are a couple of things about that. The first is what most people call assault rifles. They're doing that on what amounts to a cosmetic appearance of a given rifle. But there's a video that I have posted a link to numerous times of a law enforcement officer showing how you can literally strip a hunting rifle, get the proper looking stuff to put on it, stick new stuff on it, and make it look exactly like what they call an assault rifle, what people call an assault rifle. The truth is, the action of the weapon, the thing that makes the weapon fire and do what it does, hasn't changed at all. The only thing that's changed is how it looks, and that's an important consideration. as well, as I've said before, people can manufacture those parts if they wish to do so. And I'm not saying something should be illegal or not on the basis that people can make those parts, but I'm saying that it would be extremely hard to uphold laws regarding that if people are able to do that in their basement or whatever. Now, here's the thing. Whether you recognize this or not, the Second Amendment is an extremely simple amendment to the Constitution, right? To the U.S. Constitution. And it says basically, you can't infringe. I don't care who you are. It doesn't even specify who. It just says, no, basically, you can't infringe on people's right to bear arms. And it never does any kind of specifying what kind of arms are being talked about. Are we talking about handguns? Are we talking about rifles? Are we talking about bombs? Are we talking about tanks, grenades, whatever? Now, to be fair, most people who have, if they even do have active grenades, which most people just don't, live grenades, they just don't, right? They have grenades, but they're not live. If they have machine guns or whatever, they're locked away in vaults and they're never used. And there's a reason for that. If you look at how the military uses armament, okay, there are the glorified war movies, which of course war is not a glorifiable thing. It's a horrible thing and nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be involved in it. It's something that people have felt like they had to be involved in, and that's the only reason they've done so. But there are these glorified war movies out there, and what do they show? They show the guy out there with the M16 or AK-47 or whatever, and he's firing off bursts of ammunition. And one thing that I saw recently pointed something out. They don't show these people reloading, even though if you use ammunition like that, you have to do that. And further, they don't point out that if you use ammunition like that, you're not going to have it for very long because you can only carry so much provision with you out in the field when you actually go to use those weapons. So unless people are laying down suppression fire, typically they have their weapons in a semi-auto mode, even in the military. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One is that it's far more accurate. The second I've already stated, and that is that you waste ammunition in a horrible way if you fire weapons in automatic mode. And the third thing is it's actually harder to control, right? I think that's a third. If it's the first, again, forgive me. I kind of lost track a little bit there. But the point is, between the fact that you can't be accurate, that you can tend to lose control of the firearm when you're firing it in an automatic mode. There's also the fact that you have a limited amount of ammunition in those scenarios, and the last thing you want to do is run yourself out. And if you're able to fire accurately at whatever it is that you're firing at, which is hard enough all by itself, if you're able to do that, you're going to be much more successful in prosecuting whatever action you're doing. You'll notice that police typically do not carry automatic weapons. They don't, and there's a good reason for that. It's because it's not a typically effective way to do business anyway. But the point is, the Constitution does not prohibit any kind of weapon that I'm aware of. The thing of it is this. You can argue all you want that gun control legislation is a good idea, but can I point something out that you maybe haven't considered? People who legally own guns very seldom actually use them in illegal activities. And when they do, it's almost always what's considered a crime of passion. And if they weren't using that, they probably would find some other way to do it, sadly, something like a knife or whatever. And the problem is, what are you going to do, ban steak knives? I mean, really, this is literally what a person could do if they wanted to kill another person. This is, in fact, what's happened in places like China and the UK, is that instead of the violent crimes going down, what's happened is lots less of them have been gun crime, but they still have a lot of violent crime. The point here, though, is that illegal guns are far more commonly used in various kinds of illegal activities that are occurring. And that's an important realization, because what it tells you is that when you do things like create gun-free zones, people realize, hey, you know what? If I have my illegal weapon and I carry it into this gun-free zone, I can enact all kinds of mayhem as a result. So the point of all of this is that gun control legislation, by and large, really isn't all that effective to begin with. It's just not all that effective. It doesn't work very well. And the biggest part of the reason for that is that those who are carrying guns illegally don't care about it. They don't consider it a concern or a problem, so they don't worry about it. Okay, I'm about out of time. I'm running up on my 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I hope you're having a good day. I hope your start of the week has been a good one, and that the rest of the week continues to be just as good as the day. I am going to go ahead and sign off now. You have a wonderful Monday and a good week, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday. And yes, that will be Tuesday, the 6th of October. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day. Thanks for watching this video. Remember that you can like the video on YouTube, and you can give me a rumble on Rumble if you want to do that. Of course, you can also subscribe to my channel on both YouTube and Rumble. The channel would be Kurt's Religion and Politics. If you want to see more of my content, you can go to various places. The first of those places would be my blog. That's blogs.kpschubert.com, blogs.kpschubert.com. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Parler or Minds.com, you can look for my handle. I am at kpschubert. That is at kpschubert. You can also see my Facebook page. That also is Kurt's Religion and Politics. I have obviously a YouTube and a Rumble account. My channels on those accounts, pages, channels, whatever you want to call them, is Kurt's Religion and Politics. I have also, if you want to support me, a Patreon account. I am Kurt's Religion and Politics there. Thank you for looking at my stuff. Remember, you can subscribe. Remember, you can click notifications on the YouTube to make sure you're notified for new content. Again, thanks for coming to visit my channel. Thanks for watching this video, and you have a great day.